Good morning. It's Friday, May 10th, about 6 a.m. Central Time. Overnight, the precious metals are exploding after yesterday's breakout rally. We've got gold futures up $41, 23.82. Silver futures up 53 cents, 28.89. Copper is even up 11 cents. Platinum is just at 1,000, and palladium futures are actually rallying here, up 20 bucks at 9.91. It's interesting the correlation between platinum and palladium. We've seen periods where platinum and palladium go inverse, and then vice versa, where palladium trades over it. So gonna keep an eye on that. Gold silver ratio 82 to 1. Big dropout here this week. We were trading right around 86 at one point, showing you that silver has an explosive delta in alpha over the gold market here at the moment. So looking at the US equities, we are rallying up about 17 points. Many people were short the equity markets looking for a breakdown to the 50-day and below it. We actually tested the 50-day close, but it wasn't low enough to fill a lot of people, and now we're rallying to the upside. And this really all comes down to a couple different things. It's the dollar index finally breaking down. You'll see an inverse correlation. Many of the peaks and many of the troughs have been the dollar versus equities, the dollar versus other commodities and things like that. It was the last Friday, 1 week ago, we saw that big miss on the jobs number. It was like 175,000. We've been throwing up like 300,000, 275,000 prints, that big decline. And then yesterday we saw a huge spike up in the payroll data. So big pickup. 231,000 jobs were lost, or the unemployment claims were filed, versus 212,000 expected, and the previous week was 209. So this big jump up here, are these the cracks that are starting to surface that show the economy is going to weaken significantly? So the great thing about the gold and silver market here this week was we were able to brush off periods of strength in the dollar index, and then also many hawkish Fed officials out there. Now next week, it's going to be another, I would consider, a lighter week on the economic data. However, there are two major events here. It's going to be your PPI report that comes out on Thursday, your CPI report, which comes out on Wednesday, and then finally, you're going to have the initial claims. So you want to see the claims continue to trend like this, and trend higher, and then you want to see some of that inflation data start to come off a bit. Now, the last inflation data report that we had, that CPI, the only reason why we saw that uptick was mostly it was housing holding high, rents holding high, because of the fact that 30-year fixed mortgages are high. They're north of 7%. People aren't selling, people aren't rebuying, so they're renting and things like that, driving prices up. And the limited supply also of housing holds value and things like that. Now, if you get into the insurance part of it, because of the uncertainty with the weather and some of these natural disasters that have occurred, you've got California and also Florida. They pushed up their premiums significantly, and that's what lifted that out of the part of it. So other than that, oil prices have been settling back. Some of the grains are starting to settle back. Meats have settled back. So some of these other input costs, things like cocoa, significantly off the highs. So getting into it here today, we do have a clear breakout on the gold market right now. So right here, if we close at this level with it up $40, you're going to see the chasers come into the market. You're going to see the people say, this is it moment here on the silver market again. So the good thing about this chart pattern is, rather than it going at a 45-degree angle, now we've got the handle. So we're forming this cup and handle, and that's not only on the gold market, the silver market, and things like that. Copper futures cycle back up to the highs. Many of you purchased copper the last 2 days, working sells at those near contract highs, so many of you were filled overnight. Unfortunately, on the equities, with them breaking out to the upside again, many people are getting stopped out of their short equity positions. Equities could run back up to 5,300, and at that point, we would look to reassess and things like that, and put some new positions on, perhaps maybe taking a play on the micro options contracts. But as far as silver is concerned, 28.92 here last. The breakout point was 27.94. I told you guys, if it's going to break above 27.94, it's going to be game on, and it is. Now, where they'll have their stop losses at, in my opinion, is going to be 26.86, and that also corresponds with the 50-day moving average. So we're going to want to look at that. On the gold market, again, breakout as long as we close over at this level, and then kind of where I think they'll have their stops at is old resistance, new support. So like 23.50 would be tight stops for a lot of people. Below that's going to be like 23.18, and then I think their line in the sand 50-day moving average 22.92. So getting into the oil market just real briefly here. Oil futures up 62 cents. It's kind of got a weaker trade pattern than like the gold market and things like that. But if you see things escalate like over in the Middle East, I think that Israel is really shrugging off any kind of suggestions made by the U.S. government as far as how they should handle their invasion. I think they're going to work at their own pace here. So things could heat back up again here. That's why we favor the oil market on the long side here, and we think that it carved out a bottom here yesterday. So I'll be traveling today. I'm going to have an article on Kiko here. And that's about it, man. You guys have a great weekend here. It's going to be a rainy Florida day down here, but I'll be traveling down to Tampa. So we'll see what's going on down there with the weather over there and the fishing down there. So you guys got any questions, reach out to me, 312-858-7303. Shoot me a text if you guys want anytime over the weekend stuff. I'm always watching these things and always intrigued by market movements and market conditions. And if there's a commodity that I don't mention that's on your guys' radar, let me know. There's a USDA report coming out here today, and some of these grain markets look kind of interesting. Thought that cotton would have rallied a bit better with all that flooding that went through in Texas and things like that. Sugar futures trading this band sideways. If they can get over 20, it looks like it's game on. Cocoa futures are just too wild of a ride, moving 1,000 points a day, so that's a $10,000 move. Bitcoin futures starting to turn a bit higher. I would suspect that if U.S. equities rally to the upside, that Bitcoin would catch fire again. And then we do got a small bounce in the 2-year note, but we'll see if that has any impact. So you guys got questions, give me a call, 312-858-7303. Remember, futures option trading does involve risk of loss, may not be suitable to all investors. Good luck, good trading.